quiet quitting. And I think the name it doesn't really describe exactly what it means. But so I have up here an article that was written by
Bloomberg.
Okay, Bloomberg. They started with closing your laptop at 5 p.m., doing only your assigned tasks, spending more time with family. These are just some of the common examples used to define the latest workplace trend of quiet quitting.
And the question we have, the purpose of this topic is to find out if you have quietly quit on your employer.
And just let me go on. Some experts say it should really be defined as carving out time to take care of yourself. So there's more that I'll read on as we go on, but yeah.
So yeah, finding out if you quit on your job or quiet quitting is the term.
That's the term.
And this is like and I saw this article and I was like, what the hell is this? What are they even trying to say? So pretty much what they're saying is, and me and Janoka talk about this all the time, is like, you're the type of person who does their job and nothing more or nothing less. That term is called quiet quitting today.
Because somebody said it and then it became a TikTok trend like everything else. So that's what they're calling it. And we've had this conversation because a few times when Anthony was still at his job, he would just say like, this person isn't excelling or doing more. And I'm like, some people don't want more. And that is okay. And that's not even in a negative way. They just want to come, do their job, get paid, and be out. They don't want to do anything else. And this is what they're calling quiet quitting. That's why I said that terminology, it's like, no, I'm doing my job. I'm not really quitting. I'm just doing my job. And somebody went on to say in the article, like, if you want people to do more, you should pay them more.
Yeah.
But what it reminds me of, you've seen, I haven't applied for a job in years now, but you've seen a job ad and at the end it says, not as needed, but it will say something like, and anything else, not anything else we request, but something along the saying that, like, anything else we may need from you. So it's like, where do they draw the line of like, this is not in your job description or this is what we need at this time. So it's now in your job description. So that's the conversation that we have today. So are you quiet quitting?
That is so number one, I feel like, let me go back to my 9 to 5 because I feel like that was the most applicable when this term, before this was a term, but this is most applicable to me in my life during that time. So I had many employees and I had different tiers of employees, I feel like. And even when you're interviewing people, your goal is to find out what type of employee they're going to be. But most of the time, you're not going to know until they start that role, not even until they start it, so they get comfortable. After the honeymoon phase is over, you're like, oh yeah, you lied to me.
This is who
this is who you are. I didn't sign up for this.
Gotcha.
So at that point, it's too late. But you have different tiers of employees. So I was a type of employee, like, we're coming up on the anniversary of Hurricane Sandy in New York. And at that point in 2012, I just started my job in May. Hurricane Sandy was a couple months after that, right? And Hurricane Sandy was a huge hurricane in New York. Streets were flooded. There were trees on the ground. And I decided that I was going to, you remember that? I decided I was going to drive into work.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
And my drive took 3 hours to drive, which is a 45-minute drive normally. And it took me 4.5 hours to drive back. But I was the type.
Your life.
Yeah, that was a whole day driving to and from work. But the purpose was for me to show up and say, I did this. I went above and beyond in my job. Now, that's the super high level person that's going to be gung-ho about everything. And then you have the person that I had, I'm not going to mention their name, but they had so much potential, but it's like, yo, 5 o'clock, I'm out. This is all I'm going to do. And that's literally, it was like, yo, you could do so much more. But it's like, hey, I just don't want to. And you always say you always said that those type of people, you got to be okay with having those type of people in your team.
Yeah, because they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
They're doing their job. You asked me, you have a job description. I'm fulfilling. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything less. I'm not doing anything more. But I know we live in a society or the 9 to 5 grind is like you do more and that's how you excel.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you move on up. Anybody else that's just doing their job ain't going to be a manager, ain't going to move up the ladder, essentially. But like I said, everybody doesn't want to move up the ladder. And people have to be okay with that. Right? So this article goes on to say that like we said, quiet quitting doesn't actually involve quitting. Instead, it has been deemed a response to hustle culture and burnout. Employees are quitting, going above and beyond, and declining to do tasks they are not being paid for, which really came about when the pandemic started, is what this is saying.
Yeah.
With being home, I think people have a whole new mindset. I even saw a tweet today that they said people are getting offered $150K benefits, unlimited PTO, blah, blah. And the first question people ask, is it remote?
Yeah.
Like, so the person was trying to insinuate, like, this is a bomb package, but all the person wants to know, is it remote? Because in the day and age that we live in, so COVID has changed the mindset of many people of going above and beyond, apparently. The pandemic, yeah. That we are still in, not in, who knows. Have changed the mindset of many people, and this is why this quiet quitting thing has come about. And like I said, the terminology, I think it's contradicting, because you're not quitting. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing what I'm getting paid for. So, and sometimes I feel like that even at my job, that I'm doing what I get paid for. And I see sometimes that my manager goes above and beyond, which sure. But my thing is, like, I don't have to go above and beyond each time because that's what you do. And I find that as well too. Like, if you're, work under someone that they may do outside of their, scope of what they should be doing, and then now it's like they expect you to do the same, and I'm like, okay, no, and it's not like you could say I'm wrong, but it's kind of something that she expects from me as well.
Let me rewind that for a second. You said your manager goes above and beyond.
I think that she does
normally, right? Mm-hmm. I was the type of employee who went above and beyond. So I guess another question I have is, did I quiet quit on my job when I got to the point where I said, I'm not going to do more than my required job as a director?
That's what they're saying.
Because remember, I had a conversation with my boss, and he said, I feel like right now where you are in your life, if we needed you to put in 60 hours a week like my other directors, you wouldn't do it. And I said, absolutely not, because you pay me to work smarter.
40 hours.
Well, 40 hours.
I'm just saying.
Well, you don't get, as a director, you don't get paid to work any hours. You get a salary.
Right.
But I said, no, my goal is to work smarter, not harder. So if I have to work 60 hours, that means I'm doing something wrong. That means something needs to be on fire in the company. That means something needs to be offset where I need to work 60 hours. But I said, absolutely, you're right. I wouldn't work 60 hours because it's not required of me.
Or you're trying to overwork me and not pay me more.
Or that.
Yeah, because this is what they go on to say. The term quiet quitting is so offensive because it suggests that people that do their work have somehow quit their job, framing workers as some sort of villain in an equation where they're doing exactly what they were told. Exactly. I'm doing what you told me to do. Mm-hmm. So now, because I'm not going above and beyond, I am considered to be not a rebel, but, a rebel.
Yeah. So if you're asking me to work 60 hours a week and I'm only required to be here 40, my question is going to be immediately, am I getting paid for that? But as you get a certain level of status in your job, you don't get paid more money.
That's the problem too.
You don't get paid more money for putting in more time. But I see the management side of it is that I'm not going to give you more money if you aren't taking on more responsibility.
Right.
So you go into the job with the mindset that, all right, I'm not going to work harder. You shouldn't be expecting more money, right?
Right. I think that's what they're saying though. Like, so you're trying to say it's like a seesaw or like a cycle of who does what first?
Yeah, the chicken or the egg. What comes first?
Who does what first? So does the employee work a little harder and then they see the money, which we know it never goes that way?
No, it does go that way.
Not never, but generally. Most likely somebody's working hard for a year before they even get an extra bump.
Yeah, it's usually a long time.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Or does the employer say, hey, Johnny, I want you to do extra. We're willing to pay you $2,000 more a year for you to do this extra task.